Welcome, friends, to the 10-Minute Mind Shift podcast. I'm Janet Cagle, certified life coach, business strategist, and lover of all things related to up-leveling my life and yours. My goal is to help you experience a mind shift that gets you one step closer to your goals, whatever they are. My goal is not to keep you wrapped up in self-help all day, just 10 minutes. And who doesn't have 10 minutes, right? Let's get this podcast going. Ready? Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the 10-Minute Mind Shift podcast. I am so excited for this episode. And by the way, this is episode 13. As I'm recording this, my husband and his friend from Tulsa are enjoying a guys' weekend in the Florida Keys. And what's so apparent to me is how far I have evolved in my self-confidence and feeling secure in my life and in my marriage, all the things, because here's the deal, ladies. And by the way, my demographics say that 95% of my listeners are ladies. So there was a time that I would pace until I saw his car turn into the driveway. There was a time that if he wanted to go do something with a friend, I made that mean he needed a break from me, so that must mean he's getting tired of me. There was a time that I made everything mean something about the state of our relationship, and if he didn't show up just perfect in my mind, then that meant he didn't love me. Today, in this season of my life and our marriage, we do travel together, and when we do, it's a blast. But when he goes skiing, whether it's alone or with his kids, I enjoy that too. I enjoy that he is able to spend the weekend with his friend and show his friend a little bit of Florida as well. That brings me so much joy. It wasn't always like that. I would worry and I would make it mean something that it wasn't. So there's a little insight to my before life coaching, before personal development. I do get asked from time to time, how did I learn what I know and who are some of my teachers? So today and periodically, I'm going to share some of those words that have changed my life. And so today is Game-Changing Thoughts with Napoleon Hill from his book, Think and Grow Rich. It's hard to imagine now, but there was a time in my life that I had such a scarcity mindset that the title of this book alone, Think and Grow Rich, was a trigger for me. But now it's my go-to book. At least once a year, sometimes 2 and 3 times a year, I read it again because I always see and hear something different. So here we go. Number 1, the starting point of all achievement is desire. I looked up the definition of desire because I wanted to know what that really meant. And Webster's says desire is to long for or hope for. I use the word desire a lot when I'm talking with my weight loss masterclass clients about the over-desiring of food. And we talk it in terms of over-drinking or overspending, all of the things that we're trying to manage differently in our lives in order to up-level our lives. Desire is an incredibly powerful emotion, and as humans, we tend to spend a lot of time over-desiring in one area of our life and under-desiring in another. At one point in my life, when I heard this, I was literally sitting on my couch, eating Cheetos, drinking beer, and watching Entertainment Tonight. And I remember reading these words and deciding I'm going to redefine my life forever. After reading those words, I made myself sit down and answer these questions. What do you want to create in your life? Who do you want to be? What do you desire? I think it's important to think about what you desire and what you want to add to your life. What do you desire to create and accomplish and experience? Number 2, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. This is so incredibly powerful, and the word that gets overlooked is the word believe. Most of us have no trouble conceiving an idea of what we want to do or how we want to be. And I'm not even talking about having goals so big that they solve world problems. I'm talking about the day-to-day living kind of outcomes we dream of having, like the job of our dreams, the relationship of our dreams, or being the weight of our dreams. We can conceive this fairly easily, but here is where the wheels fall off the wagon. When we don't believe in our ability to create the outcome, It's a desire that goes unanswered. It's a desire that is unachieved. Some of the deepest work that I've done has been in the area of believing new things. When I joined my coach in January 2018, one of the first things we did was work on beliefs that were creating blocks in my life. And I remember thinking, oh man, I've done so much work in the last 3 years, and I feel like I'm in a good place with my beliefs. She said, just think about it, and maybe one will come up. And boy, did it. A couple of days later, I was working, and an email hit my inbox, and my heart sank. The subject line looked like it was going to be a complicated issue, and my long time, I can't read and comprehend well, belief bubbled up. And so I decided that that would be the belief that I would work on. But here's the deal. It was more than just a belief. It was true. I mean, I had all kinds of evidence. I remember sitting at the kitchen table in the 2nd grade with my mom and reading a chapter and then trying to answer the questions about what I had just read. I remember how frustrated I was, and she was, and how humiliated I felt trying to do better each time and just not getting it. All my teachers said the same thing. And so, it was just who I was. I had blonde hair, blue eyes, and a reading comprehension problem. I did the work, I did the exercise, and within 4 days, my old belief was obliterated. I'm going to share a link to a workbook in the show notes, and I encourage you to do this exercise and change your own game. Whatever you can conceive and believe, you can achieve. So powerful. Number 3, you are the master of your destiny. You can influence, direct, and control your environment. You can make your life what you want it to be. When I read this quote again in my 50s, that is what inspired me to create Life by Design Academy. And I became inspired to help others start creating the effect in their lives instead of living at the effect of life happening to them. I read somewhere that said you get what you deserve, and that just rubbed me the wrong way. Here's what I think. You get what you spend the most time thinking about. You get good at what you spend the most time practicing. And what I have noticed is that people are spending too much time thinking about what they don't want and not enough time thinking about what they do want. They practice thinking the wrong thoughts and end up creating exactly what they don't want. Number 4, set your mind on a definite goal and observe how quickly the world stands aside to let you pass. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that the universe actually conspires to make it so. And in episode 8, I share a personal journey with you, and this lesson was for sure front and center. But here is why it's true. Your eyes will see what your mind seeks. We think that we are seeing everything there is to see as we move through the day, but we are only seeing through the lens and the filter of our brains. When you decide and commit to a goal, your brain starts showing you all of the options and opportunities available for you. One of my students that I've been working with had been struggling with what direction she wanted to go with her life. After a few sessions, she started to see how she could make her artistic talent of creating beautiful jewelry and turn that into a business. Within days of that goal, she started seeing incredible opportunities appear, and doors just seemed to fling open wide for her. Her art and craftsmanship is now featured in several national and international magazines. I'll put a link to her website in my show notes. She makes incredibly elegant pieces. Number 5, our only limitations are those we set up in our minds. This goes back to episode 2 in Possibility Thoughts. The primal part of our brain is wired to point out all of the ways that something could be too risky or how we could fail. But when you can access the prefrontal cortex and you can dream and conceive and believe in the possibility of creating the outcome, you will achieve the result. Number 6, the man who does more than he is paid for will soon be paid for more than he does. This thought alone could literally turn your entire career around, scale your business, and bring you wealth beyond your wildest imagination. As humans, we tend to have a paid by the hour mentality, but when you start thinking in terms of how can I serve, how can I blow my own mind today, how can I blow my boss's mind today, where can I add value, those are all game-changing thoughts. All right, my friends, I hope that you have enjoyed hearing some of the thoughts from my mentor, Napoleon Hill, and let me know, leave me the love, and now you go have the best week ever. That's a wrap of the 10-Minute Mind Shift podcast. I hope that you were able to experience your own transformation this week. If you love this podcast, I would love it if you would leave me a review, and here is what's in it for you. When you listen and subscribe and screenshot your review, email it to me, you are entered to win $100. As soon as we get to 100 reviews, I will be drawing for the winner. Now, you can only leave one review, but you can enter multiple times. I'm going to leave the details in the show notes. All right, my friends, I hope that you have the best week ever.